In this episode, I am privileged to talk to a writer, a poet, and a doctor. She has been writing since the age of 9 and has been on this show before in 2020. She has written a lot of articles which have been published in magazines and books. Her latest book is titled Only If You Look in the Mirror. Welcome to the show again, Miriam. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. It'll be so great to be here. Thank you for having me once again. Really appreciate it.
Thank I really appreciate your presence here again. Also, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest last time. And now I'm having the opportunity to have a soulful conversation with you about a book that you've written and that almost made a grown man like me to cry at some point. So we'll look into that a little bit. And I hope by the end of this episode, people out there will see how much richness you packed into a book and this poetic tale that you share with the world, and how much it can help people to see themselves also through the tales that you tell in the book. But before we go into all of the questions that I would love to ask you from my reading, can you tell us the inspiration behind the book?
Okay. Okay, the inspiration behind the book would first of all be when you write poetry, you already know that at one way or the other you're able to put into words the emotions that people can really say the words to, but they feel also. So I believe I just figured out, okay, well, it's time to put together most of my works. Let's say most of it, maybe some of my works together and just have something
Mm.
out there for people to have together. Because I had this friend that was always saying, no, every time I need a bit of therapy, I just go to your page and just read the poems. I'm like, okay, this would be nice to actually have something where people can actually read and flip through. I've always wanted to have a
Yeah.
book actually, but then there was also that thing of, okay, is it the right time? Have you found your voice properly and everything? So yes, and then I decided, okay, I think it's time. That was after I finished medical school. Like it's time to put together my book. At least I've done what my parents would have wanted me to do. So it's
Mm.
time to do what I want to do also. So yes, that was basically
Yeah.
what inspired the whole, okay, it's time to put the book together.
And I got to understand that you've been writing the book for about 7 years, like different
Oh
pieces at
yes.
different
Oh,
times, different phases.
yeah, different pieces at different times because I write poetry almost every day when I'm actively writing, and like I write about 10 poems per day. So currently I probably have like 2,000 or more that I cannot even keep track of anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, so when it got to that, I'm like, okay, let me put the poems together. But the thing about it is that when I was putting it together, I wasn't sure I wanted an anthology. I wasn't sure I wanted something that wasn't really connected. But it was in that process I figured out that, okay, hold on, these poems are they follow this kind of sequence that tells a bit of a story. I think this has something else in it, which is where we got the poetic tale from, which is on the book. Like,
Mm.
okay, now this is telling a story. So what about we just sit down properly and just rearrange them and let this character tell people a story, and maybe just they might just see themselves and maybe just make their lives a bit better, or they can just find someone they can relate to. Actually,
Yes.
that's it.
I
Yeah.
believe this poetic tale really does that job. Like, I mean, I might not be able to relate to everything, but picking up the book and reading about different parts of, what the lady went through, the character went through, you were like,
Mhm.
oh, I've experienced this before. Oh yeah, this is it.
Mhm.
Oh man, that is so deep. And at a point, like I was saying off camera, I almost felt like hugging the lady because I was feeling so emotional myself. I was like, oh god. But also it gave me a sense of like I'm not you're not the only one going through something. Like I'm not the only one going through this particular thing. I've experienced a part of that story, of that journey that she went on, and I was like,
Very
oh,
Yeah,
I,
it's
I'm,
not
I'm I'm
just
not
me.
exactly. It's not just me. Yes, I'm not abnormal or nothing. Like you, through your book. Thanks so much for writing that. You give people that reassurance again that they're not
Not human.
senseless, or they are not abnormal. They're not cursed, basically, for going through what they went through. Yeah.
Not that's far.
Of course, no, sometimes you go through some things in life and you think, am I cursed? Are my village people doing me? What is happening? Without now, millions of other people are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing also.
Yes, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Mhm.
Yeah. So I would like us to start from the very beginning of the poetic tale. Like the old tale unfolds like a tulip in chapter 1 that you titled
Yeah.
Blooming. So
Blooming.
can you tell us can you tell us about this? Can you tell us about how the old journey started?
Okay. Like okay. I'm not sure I understand that. I should tell you about the chapter or the story itself. Mhm.
Oh, sorry. There was like an internet connection there at the point.
Okay, I was
Issue.
asking
Yeah.
you
Can you
if
just?
you. Okay, can I just what?
Oh, sorry. Go on. On the today, you can just tell us about how the story unfolds.
Okay. So we have 22 chapters in the book. It starts with, like you said, blooming, and then we have withering and throwing tantrums. So we basically go from this point where we meet our character and she's in love. So it's, of course, just a sweet thing, but it's short-lived because next thing she just goes down into the breakup, and then there's the hunger, and then there's dealing with it, and there's learning to forgive, and then we go into infatuation, and then she's realizing, okay, this might not be love because it's almost like our character is on a quest for love, which is something that I think a lot of us are actually after, one way or the other. Might not be as direct as everyone else.
Mm,
And then she finds a way to start getting in touch with herself and trying to get to know herself better. And then we see this character development where for some reason now she can figure out, okay, this is who I am. But the thing about it is, in that journey of finding yourself, people still fall into potholes, which she did again, and then went into another kind of infatuation with somebody else. And then she comes out again and like, okay, I think it's still time to find myself again. And then
mm,
at that point, she finds a way to embrace God, because I believe that to be able to find love, you have to be able to love God, because it's almost as though your heart is filled with so much love. If the core is not strong enough, you're going to keep feeling things that cannot fill the core with it. So I believe
mm,
God's love is
mm.
supposed to be the core of our heart. So that's what stays in it. That's
Yeah.
constant. So whatever love you had to it, then it's an additional one. If you take that out, it doesn't crumple the whole thing. But if you keep putting, like, would we call it human love in the middle of your heart, if anything happens,
Mm,
the whole thing crumbles. So when she embraces God,
yeah.
you can see that at that point in time, then she's actually able to find true love, which is actually how we ended.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you took that part, of someone first of all being broken and first of all going AWire. If I'm able to, I'm permitted to use that word, and searching, trying to deal with the old brokenness, and at the end of the day, find a solution and having an happy end, a good ending at the end of the day, and that really gives us that kind of assurance that no matter what you're going through right now at this very moment in your life, once you're able to find the right path to go on, you will end up being happy and whole again, no matter what you've gone through in life. Yeah,
Maybe not always ambitious,
and
but
on
be okay.
yes, we'll be okay. Yes, yes. Like people say, like a lot of us are going through stuff, and a lot of us are coming through stuff. But you'll surely be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be well. Yes, and I'm happy that you summarized all of that already. When you pick up the book to read, it goes into even much more depth. Like
It
you
does.
dive into this character, life, and world, and it's really deep.
Yeah,
It's really deep.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I
It,
forgot to mention the part where she goes through like the friendship, the betrayal, family, death, all these things in the
mm,
middle. Those are things that we go through in life. I know some people have told me the book is almost as though like the essence of living, like just trying to live. Even though I saw it as more of love, but just you trying to live, like a human trying to survive in this world. That is how some people have actually described it, which I
yeah.
think I agree with. It's basically like a survival book, trying to survive through this world. Because basically most of the things we would go through,
Yeah.
what we went through in the book.
Yes, I mean I can totally agree to that because when I was reading the book, what I heard in my head was basically life. This is just life. This is just how life is. This is what life is. Like no matter how sad or yeah or I don't tragic it could be, that's the reality of the life that we have right now. Like people that you think you can depend on, rely on, could stab you and leave you hanging, and
Yeah.
people come, people go. Yeah. Yeah, and that's even when I got to the part of death also. I first of all thought, oh, maybe you're writing about something personal to you, like maybe you missing your mom or something like that. But then I
Yeah.
read it, I was like, oh no, it's not really
It's
related to
not really,
that.
it's not really. I wrote it a long time ago. I had no idea of what death was at that point in time, but I had this moment where I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know what happens when we die, because I kept having this scare that
mm,
somebody around me was going to die, and I'd never really lost anybody really close to me. So
mm,
there was just that there's this part of life you've not really experienced, and you know one day it's gonna happen.
mm,
So that was how I went in. Funny enough, that chapter is something that I've been going back to read, because I'm like, okay, this is how I
mm,
actually feel right now. So it's kind of
mm.
strange when I read it and I'm like, how did I know how this was going to feel like? So sometimes it feels as though
Yeah.
the poetic part is it's but I'd say it's spiritual. In a way, it's spiritual in a way,
Mm,
because I can't say I'm writing from only my own experience, because there's some things that I would write about. I have never experienced it, but it's the inspiration, the way the words came. That was how it is. So it's something divine.
yeah.
I wouldn't even give myself credit for it, because a lot of these things I don't know how I get to write them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's God's gift. It's God's gift to us, and maybe also God's way of passing across a message to people out there, or even to you yourself. Yeah,
Sure. Mhm.
yeah. And you haven't gone through, or sadly going through that losing someone so close to you. How do you think you'll have written that chapter again? Would you think you'll have written the chapter in a different way, or do you see that chapter in a different way or different light right now?
Okay. Well, first, I don't think I will have rewritten the chapter, though. I don't think I would have. Maybe I would have added one or two poems. Maybe I would have, but then I would still. I wouldn't really take anything out of it. I wouldn't take anything out of it. But how I
Mm,
see the chapter right now is it's more of a, I can relate to you. I can really relate to you. So it's as though someone wrote something for how I feel, and I can read it.
mm,
That's how it feels like. Like, okay, I can relate to you. This is actually how I feel. So yes, I think
yeah,
it's more of a comfort read for me now, because I'm like, oh yes, you get it. You get it. That's it actually. Because if I wanted
yeah,
to write something about death, it's been way more elaborate. I'm actually working on something in that regard, because I think grief is something we don't talk about enough. And I'm like, how do people
mm,
go through this and we don't know about this? People don't really talk about this as much as they should. So yes, for grief and death to be an
mm.
entire book, to be just one chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, to also be a big blessing because, yeah, like you said, going through things like breakup, going through grief, any kind of loss, for example, I don't think we really talk about it as much as we should because a lot of people
Yeah.
are out there suffering and silently going through different things, different dark phases, and are unable to speak up because no one is there to accept or
Or
to really
definitely.
understand them, and they have nothing to reflect on. Also, like something that could mirror their emotions or feelings at that moment to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. And then if we go on a path towards finding our way back, finding the light again. One thing that you wrote about in your book that helps us is forgiveness. Like at
Yes.
that point when she was able to start forgiving was the day
Yes.
for me that she started to find her healing again, to find her way back to who she truly is. And in this chapter, I think chapter 5, you wrote about forgiveness, and you open up this chapter with the struggle that sometimes comes with journaling. And I'm going to ask you about journaling very soon. But you wrote something in that
Or
chapter that I highlighted. I'm going to read. I'm going to read what I highlighted. You wrote journaling. This is about journaling. You wrote, this
yes,
opens the door to healing and dealing. But those
doing.
who
Yes.
don't seek the truth, those journal. For the journey between the ink and the white paper is where the truth lies. I was like, oh, okay. So Miriam, tell me about your journaling process and how journaling has helped you to heal and find the truth.
Oh, I feel like I might not be able to tell the full story today, but one day I'll tell the full story, but I'll give you the short form. So
Okay.
for journaling, I think me journaling started with, I don't know if you remember this Vampire Diaries thing. It was during
Mm,
the time when I think we're in high school. There was this Christopher Vampire Diaries, and then the main character
yeah.
Elena had a diary, and she goes there diary every time. I'm like, oh, I think I
Mm,
like it. That I would like to have a diary. That's actually how I started journaling. So for me, it was more of a diary, just a way to keep the memories over the years. So I continued this up to medical school and stuff. But then something happened to me in between, and I figured out that I couldn't remember some things that were in the journal. So in a way, the journal was something that helped me to remember some things that happened, and I'm like, okay, this is something life changing because it was a major life thing that I actually forgot. Let's just say it was traumatic. Probably that was why. So to be able to remember that just because I journaled was a different thing entirely. So, but apart from
Mm,
that, day to day, I have different journals. I actually made a video about this recently. I'm yet to post it though. I have different journals. So I have like three different ones. So the first one is a dream journal slash a Thanksgiving and a spiritual kind of one. Well, gratitude rather, sorry, not Thanksgiving. Gratitude and Bible study kind of. I put it together so that because that's usually what I do first thing in the morning. So I did the dream journal, I did the gratitude, and then I do the Bible study. So everything is in one
mm,
place. Because I figured out that a lot of times we forget our dreams so much. I'm like, okay, I don't think I want to keep forgetting my dreams, even if it's just like a bit of it. I want to be able to remember what I dreamt about, because just in case it's something that is
mm,
relevant. And then the gratitude part
yeah.
is okay. I believe that if you're able to figure out at least 10 things in the morning when you wake up that you're thankful for, it shifts your entire energy. It makes you feel more grateful for even the minute things that you might not, okay, this thing is not really relevant, but without it, your life isn't going to really be the same thing. So that, and then
Mm,
Bible study. Then the second type of journaling, I would say, is when you record daily activities and your emotional, like how things made you feel, how somebody made you feel, or how you made somebody feel, those kind of things, just to help you understand your mental state at that point in time. What is making you switch? What do you need to work on? So that's also kind of like a
mm,
mirror. What do you need to work on? Did you react in a way you did not like? How would you like to move on from that? So it's a way to reflect on things that happened to
mm,
you, and also a way
mm,
to also keep records, because since we forget a lot of things, that might be a good way to actually keep record. And then the other one would
mhm.
be an expressive one, which would be my own writing journal, poetry, stories, doodling, some maybe artworks, like how you just express yourself. So for me, that's that's
Mm.
that's it. That's it. Do you journal?
I mean, it's a struggle for me. It's an on and off journey for me, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of journals also. And when I reflected back on this, and also when reading your book, or reading this part of the book, I was like, wow, I've really filled myself in a lot of journaling journeys. Like some journals, I'll say I'm going to be dedicated to them. I'll write in them. And at a point, I just stop
Just stop.
and I
Yeah.
put them aside. Yeah, and then I pick up a new journal and say this is a new start, this is a fresh beginning, and I do the same thing and I stop. So I don't know how you can help me. Like, what can I do to be consistent in this journaling journey?
I think for me, I figured out that you have to build a routine with it. Like the way I said earlier, like the first journal I pick up in the morning, I usually do that like right before I even get up from bed. That's why I even put them together, because I want to do Bible study before I get up from bed. So I do everything together if I get up from bed. But the last journal, which where I record what happens in the day, is the last thing I do before I go to sleep. So usually
Mm,
I just know like from 11 to 12, I'm probably reading or journaling or praying or something. That's what I do. So I know that last time before I do to bed, I journal. Like, so I feel like building that routine in your head, your mind just understands that, okay, this is the last thing I do. And then your book
mm,
is right by your bedside. It's not that something you have to be looking for. So I believe that
yeah.
if you have a routine, it's not going to be easy when you start it. It's not going to be easy. And sometimes you'll be so sleepy, even if you're so sleepy, even if it's two lines you write, just write something and then you just slip off. And the next morning, you're probably even motivated to, okay, let me finish what I was writing yesterday. And then you do that.
Mm,
So I feel like you just have
yeah.
to have a time for it. If it's early in the morning before you do something, or maybe when you're probably having your morning coffee or breakfast or something, right? Just keep up that routine, because once you're able to build the routine, your mind just understands, okay, wait, there's something I should be doing right now. And then that's how you're able to keep up. Because if not, if it's just like, okay, I'll do it today, oh, it is going to be
Mm,
something very, very complex to do. Because like that
yeah.
11 to 12 thing, I have an alarm for that 11 p.m. Like 11 p.m. is like reading, journaling time. So just in case for me to start, because I actually stopped journaling for a while, the evening one. I stopped doing it for a while, but then for me to get back into it, I'm like, okay, I'll just have a set of alarms. So by 11 p.m., I know that, okay, I'm supposed to be reading or journaling or something. So that way I'm able to
Mm,
get into it easier than if I just left it to chance. So yes, you can do it.
yeah. I believe that I'll take up on our advice on setting blocks, basically in my calendar, or like, setting alarms also. So I could just
Yeah.
get like a
Mhm.
reminder that says it's not time to
Exactly.
journal.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
hopefully I won't ignore the alarm and snooze it and
And
say tomorrow I will start. Yeah. Oh, great. But for someone out there who doesn't like know the benefit that comes with journaling, like can you mention
Okay.
like maybe 2, 3 benefits that you've experienced and enjoyed from journaling?
Okay. Okay. The first would be that I think it makes you more mentally strong in a way, because if you are able to dissect the things you do, like during the day and stuff like that, definitely makes you a stronger person. I would say it makes you a happier person, because if you're able to find 10 things you are grateful for, because I'm sure if I should tell you now, you're not going to, okay, let's try that. Tell me 10 things you are grateful for.
Oh, okay. I'm grateful that I'm speaking with you right now. Yeah, that's one thing I'm
Okay.
grateful for.
Right.
After 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years, I believe. Number two, I'm grateful that this evening I got back from work and I had dinner. It was wonderful. I made dinner for myself. Um,
That's true.
Third, that's two. Okay. Okay. We won't finish this podcast today if I continue. The third thing is I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm happy that I woke up this morning. The fourth
Okay.
thing is that I'm grateful that I worked today. I went to the office today. I worked and I was productive with my work. I'm grateful about
Okay.
that.
That's five
15.
already.
That's 5 already. Okay. Hi. Okay. Let's see. 16 is I don't know. I'm missing now.
Let me help you out. Because now, when you are
Yes,
saying
please.
gratitude, it includes everything. It can be as simple
Mm.
as you are grateful for the chair you're sitting on. It's comfy, it's giving you support. It's helping. You are grateful for the space you
Oh,
have. You can be grateful for even the painting. You can be
yeah.
grateful if you drive. You can be grateful for your car. If you have something, so it doesn't. It's not. It could be a material thing that just makes your life better, that you can be grateful for. Because
Mm.
without this, sometimes I won't think I'm grateful for my car. Because without my car, I'm not going to be able to go around as comfortably as I'll be able to. Those kind of small things that you can be grateful for. Grateful for life, your health, your family's health, your friends' health,
Yeah.
their children's health, those kind of things. Like,
Mm.
so yes, so it helps you to stop and be like, okay, it's not all about just me. What else? What else around me? What am I grateful for? Yeah. So yes, so the
Yeah.
two benefits I think we can pick out is definitely it helps you to stay more grounded, it helps you to be more thankful. And if you are more thankful, I think it helps you to appreciate life a bit more, which means more positive energy, which is what we're always chasing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. We only want positive energy. And thanks for
Yeah.
completing that for me. Yeah, I can really say that I'm grateful for all those things I mentioned. So family, my health, and yeah, all the goodies that I get to enjoy by God's grace. Also, I'm very grateful for all of them. Yeah, that's something to be grateful for every day. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. There's another part of your book that I really want us to talk about, and you mentioned it already, and that's infatuation. And I think
Yeah.
that infatuation affects a lot of us, and also it could make or break someone. Let me just put it that way. So, can you
Yeah.
tell me about infatuation and how we can deal with it?
Wow. I think a lot of people first of all get into that. A lot of us, not let me say people, a lot of us get into that space when we really want love. And that happens,
Mm.
especially when you've been single for a while and you just want to, join all these people in their whole lash for everything and everything. Or just
Yeah.
and Valentine's Day is coming, so now there's more pressure and everybody to want to be booed up one way or the other. So I think in
Mm.
that way you just end up getting what's it called? Picking someone that might not really be good for you, or somebody you might not even really align with, just to fill that space in us. So I
Mm.
think the what's it called? The best way to deal with this would be to know yourself well. I think self-love and self-value is something that would help, and discipline actually, because you can love yourself and still want something that's not good for you. So yes, I think discipline. You have to be able to discern, like, okay, is this something you really want? And some people would choose to just want to be infatuated, just want to be just they're just there for the vibes. They're not there for the
Mm.
long-term process. So it depends on what you value as a person and what you want. But I think infatuation is something that I think as we go through life, it gets to a point where we figure out a way around it. You know that this thing is not for whatever. I'm just infatuated with this person, and it's not love. It's not real. So I think we figure it out at
Mm.
the end of the day. Actually, we do.
Yeah, we do. And
Yeah.
that leads me to my next question, and also a chapter in your book. Because when I read about
Oh
reality
yeah.
check in your book, I was like, oh, I think it's at the point where I will realize that this situation has been a delusional one, a delusional situation. I've been infatuated. I'm not in love. Um, now I can see the mirror right in front of me. I can see my reflection, and I can see it is not good. It's not looking nice at this moment. Yeah, and there's something you wrote in that chapter that I also highlighted. You write
Mhm.
highlighted. You wrote, when you end your contract with toxicity, peace and light
Yeah.
finds a home. I'm like, yes. When I can see myself and I can see all of these things around me, they are toxic. I've been infatuated. I've been delusional. Then
Mhm.
peace and light will find a home in me. Yeah.
Yes.
So is there like a way? Is there like a way people can, for example, this surely goes to be a question to you, that is there like a way people can perform reality check, like an effective reality check that could help them find peace and find light again?
Okay. Yes, I believe there is. Now we'll go back again to journaling. Because if you are
Okay.
self-reflecting, one way or the other, things start to stick out to you. Especially when you probably
Mm,
go back to read what you've written. Sometimes you just be like, okay, hold on. This is not sounding right. And I believe reading also, because I'm a major proponent of what's it called, self-help books. I think they've changed my life. They help you
mm,
to exactly put a mirror at yourself and be like, okay, is this something I should be doing? And of course, friends around you, friends can be the ones to give you the
mm,
reality check. It might just be one thing that somebody would say and then that's it. Because a lot of times we are not able to see what our friends can say. So if you have people that really,
mm,
really love you and they point you to something like, okay, this thing is not looking right, I think you should actually take a step back and look at it like, okay, this person loves me. So that I said, the friends that love you, this person loves me, so they wouldn't be saying
mm,
something that would be
mm,
detrimental to me. So if they are thinking something is wrong with this, I should stop and take a look at it and one day. And also asking for feedbacks actually, because I think I'm someone that would ask someone, oh, okay, what did you think about this thing that happened, or what do you think about what I just told you, that kind of a thing, just to get another perspective on what is happening, just so that you're not alone in that circle of yours and you're not able to see what you see. And then we'll go for prayer
mm.
also, because I think the Holy Spirit can actually help us discern sometimes when something is wrong. We might not be able to put our fingers on it, but yes, it can be really helpful too.
Yes. The help of the Holy Spirit goes a long way. I
Yes,
believe,
that.
like, it helps you to reflect, even whispers to you and tells you this thing that you're doing does not make
Good.
sense, or it makes sense. Yeah. And friends also. And like you said it correctly already. Like sometimes it's not make sense to you what your friends that truly love you will tell you, or what the Holy Spirit will tell
So,
you. But then once you are able to trust them, you and you take their guidance, take their instructions, or take their advice,
yeah.
at the end of the day, you realize, yeah, that's a reality check for me. I actually, yeah, I can see what they are saying. Yeah,
Exactly. Because a lot of
yeah.
people would tell you that maybe if your friend is going through something, especially when it comes to like relationships and stuff, don't say anything. I'm not a fan of that. I would rather lose that friendship, but I will tell you the
Hmm,
truth. Because I would
hmm,
imagine if I was in your place, I would want someone to say something. Because I can't imagine being in a place where I'm not supposed to be and nobody around me saying anything just because they don't want to really interfere. I don't think that's love actually. Because I know that there was a point where I did say something once in life, and this friend of mine and the guy stopped talking to me for a while, which was kind of
hmm,
funny. But I'm like, no, I stand by the truth. I would not say something. I would not see something that is bad and not say anything. I won't do that. I would say
hmm,
it. Let's know that I said it. Because I wouldn't want to be in that
hmm.
situation and nobody says anything to me. But some people don't believe in that. They believe don't say anything. Leave the person alone. When the time comes, they will figure it out themselves. But that can be very dangerous. So no.
Yeah, yeah, it can be dangerous. That's true. I mean,
Yes.
it could be very
Mhm.
uncomfortable to open up and tell them the truth, but you're
Yeah,
helping them in the
exactly.
long run, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in the long run.
And if they can't see it
Yeah,
well, no, no problem. No problem. It's fine.
yeah, it's fine. That's true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what a true friend should do, I believe. Yeah. And talking about a true friend and talking about the Holy Spirit, um, you wrote also, or you yeah, in your book you write about embracing God. So from your own personal experience, like I would like just to know or hear, like, how has embracing God influenced your life up to this moment?
Wow. The question is exciting. I don't think I would know
That's
where to
testimony
start
time.
from.
Testimony time. Start from somewhere.
Ah, okay. So let me start from I think throughout my life, like even before I knew okay, but as much as I have now, I that's God has always moved in my life one way or the other. He has always moved in my life. But there was this point when I was back in school in Ukraine, and I decided, okay, I want to find God because there's so many religions and all. I want to find God. I'm gonna go searching for God. So I thought, okay, fine. Let's read about Islam. Let's read about Christianity. Let's read about was it Taoism, a bit of
Mm,
Buddhism. I just want to know how to find God. And then at the end of the day, it seemed as though what's it called? I found God every single way I looked, but then at a point it did resonate with me more in Christianity than any other part because I could feel the
mm,
love. The love was different. So it was almost as though even though I was trying to find God, God had already found me long before then.
mm, mm,
So from that moment, I wouldn't say it was an easy thing. There are different ways that God has moved from getting me out of a toxic relationship and what's it called? Saving my life multiple times. I cannot even count. I can't even count. I can't even count. When you say I should even pick the testimony, I will never know which one to share. But I think the one that I can remember the
mm,
most now would be there was this night I was driving and what's it called? There was this lane I was going through. It's supposed to be a one lane, like cars that are going, not cars that are coming. Like there's no the other cars that are coming go through like the next few buildings to come out. So you're definitely not expecting anybody to be facing you.
mm,
So I was driving that way. I got
mm,
stopped by the police. They spoke to me for a few minutes and then I drove off. The next thing I see the person behind me flashing me, flashing me. Why is this person flashing me? Like I don't think I know anybody. And it's even in the night, I can't really see the cars. Then next thing I look up,
mm.
I see a trailer coming my way. And I'm like, okay,
Ooh,
those are lights. You know, there should be no car on this part. But why is there a car here?
yeah.
And then next thing, I just swerved to the side and then the trailer passes and I'm like, oh my God. Then I tried to move forward and I figured out that if I had moved just 10 meters away from where I was, there would not have been space
Mm,
for me to put myself to the side for the trailer to have passed.
mm,
And I do
mm,
not know what would have happened. I really do not know what would
mm,
have happened. I have
mm.
absolutely no idea. And there was this day I also
Yeah.
almost got kidnapped. And I literally heard the Holy Spirit say, cross the road. And I'm like, you know
Wow.
that kind of thing when you hear and you feel dragged. It's like I heard cross the road and I felt dragged to the other side of the road because I'm like, why should I cross the road? Like, it's just there. It was
Mm.
just like a small van I just parked. I'm like, it's just a van. It's just a van, nothing. And it was in the morning when I was taking a walk. I said, it's just a van. I just said, cross the road. And next thing, you know that kind of thing when you feel like someone does LD by the hand. I was like, let's go. Because it's like,
Yes.
until we don't have time to be discussing this with you. So yes, so
Yeah.
many ways like that God has showed
Yeah.
up in my life. So I mean, when it comes to God, there's no I can't even say I can't even say I can't say enough actually. I can't say enough actually.
Mm.
So when I actually thought the book was done and the book was ready to be published, the Holy Spirit was like, the book is not done. It's not done. Because I'm like, okay, so what's it?
Yeah.
That's how the embracing God chapter came in. Because I'm like, okay, it's missing that part. I see it now. I see it. I see it. I
Mm.
see it. So yes, that
Yeah.
was the last chapter I actually
Put
wrote, and then the book was finished.
yeah, putting an element of God to crown everything up. That's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm happy that you are enjoying the presence of God in your life, and it just shows that God is good, basically. God is
Yeah,
good all the
it's
time. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
Although
so
I think grief challenged my faith a bit. Challenged my faith a bit. I
hmm.
think it's still a struggle day by
How?
day, but well, we thank God because
Hmm.
when you believe in miracles, you believe like there is nothing God cannot do. And then you see things and you're like, God could have saved this person. Why did he choose not to? So
Hmm.
it brings a major question because in church they keep preaching God can do anything, miracles are possible. And you've seen it, yes, miracles are possible. Then
Hmm.
you're like, why did he not do this one? Why? You know that kind of a thing, like why did he not do this
Yeah.
one? So it brings a lot of questions,
Yes.
but you still have to be able to know that God wants the best for us, like greater than we can imagine. So you just have to keep reminding yourself. Well, I would just say it's not easy. It's not easy because you're like, God
Hmm.
could have done it, but he didn't do it. But you want to know
Yeah.
why, but then at the same time, you still know that God's you can't leave God's embrace. That's the thing. You can't leave God's
Mm-mm.
embrace. You have questions, you are sad, but you still can't leave God's embrace because you know that outside this there's nothing good. So you don't want to be out of
Mm-mm.
it, but at the same time, but you're still struggling. So yeah, I think that's how it kind of
That's
feels.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing that up and that question, because a friend of mine also asked me the same question. He also went through something similar, and I was saying,
So
"Oh, don't neglect God and don't this." And asked me the same question, and I became quiet because
quiet.
at that point I was trying to be careful and to be sensitive at the same time. I didn't want to start, bombarding with answers, and I didn't know the right answers to actually give because
Yeah,
I know this, the point of view that he has at that moment, after losing something huge, something big like
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. But I'm
yeah.
happy that
Because I'm sure
you're able to. Sorry,
no, go
please.
ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead, you can finish.
No, okay. I said I'm happy that you are able to, even though you went through a dark phase and you're still, coming out of it, you're able to still embrace God and still keep hold on that your faith. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's a struggle, but we try every day. We try every day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So for someone out there, for example, who is going through something similar, or who does not have, like, at the moment, doesn't have a reason to leave, or is going through a tough time or any, kind of difficulty, how would you encourage that person to find a reason to leave and a reason to to pull through, because the end on the right path is surely going to be beautiful?
Wow, that's a tough one. Hmm. How would we encourage them, and how would we tell them? What reason would we give them to keep going?
Mm,
Okay, I think I was reading The Alchemist a few days back. I've read that book 2 times. People would always review the book and say it's life changing, changed my life, but I never saw why. Like, it's just a book, it's just a story, and I didn't see it
mm,
as a fantastic story. I never got it. But then a few months ago, I saw the book at the bookstore, and I'm like, okay, I think I should just get another one because I gave my brother my own book to read, and it was raving about it, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Maybe it's time to read the book again. So when I came across it, I picked it up again. So while I was reading the book, I could see the God factor from the start. I don't know if everyone else. Have you read the book before? The Alchemist. Have you read it?
not yet. Well,
Oh,
I
okay.
should read it.
So, so
Not
through the
yet, not
process
yet.
of reading, oh, okay, I could see the God factor from the start. For some reason, it reminded me of God's sovereignty. It reminded me of the fact that no matter who the person is, like, we all have something to do. Because I think that is a lot something that we tend to forget a lot of times, that okay, it's just me, I don't matter. So I think what we'd say to them is you just have to remember that you matter. Like, you are important. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You are here for a particular reason. I might not be able to tell you that reason, but you're
Mm,
here for a particular reason. And you have to be able to resist whatever it is that the devil is telling you that is making you want to exit or leave this whole thing. I've been through that phase in my life where I felt like, okay, I don't think I have anything left to do in this world. There is nothing I'm doing here. But I keep holding on to the fact that God's promises for me, it's of good. It's not of evil. It's to bless me
mm,
more than what I can even think about. So I think it's just the words of God you have to hold on to. You have to try your best to hold on to
mm,
the words of God. Because some days will challenge you. Some days you'd be like, this word doesn't even feel like there's a God. You would want to say things that are blasphemous, but you just have to hold on to the words of God. You have to hold on to God's love. You have to believe that whatever it is you're put on this earth for, you still have to get it done. You have to get it done.
yeah,
It's not going to be easy. Nobody can really say something in particular, but we just have to say that, please just hold on. Just hold on. Reach out to
yeah,
friends, reach out to people that can be helpful, because I think a lot of times it's difficult to talk about these things, but try. God is always watching out for us. But try, please speak about it. If it's someone else, if it's a professional person you want to speak about it, and try to pray. Because sometimes we don't want to pray because we feel like we're in so much pain. Even if you're going to sit in the presence of God and just cry, just do it. Just do it, and,
mm,
and, and call for help. Let him send you people that will be able to help you through the hard time. I think that's what I would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sums it up already. Like, reach out to people, hold the line, like, don't give up,
Yes.
and
Don't give up.
also speak up, speak up. Yeah, don't give up. That's beautiful, Miriam. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like,
Yeah.
for someone out there who, for example, would like to reach out to you, maybe connect with you, get the book, and maybe ask some further questions, what's the best way to reach out?
Okay, I would say Instagram. I think
Yeah.
Instagram is one of the best ways to reach out. Instagram,
Yeah.
Mariam.Alayande, right there. And what's it called? For the book, to get the book too, if you reach out to me, you can get the book. And the book is also on
Mm,
seller. The link is in my bio, also on Instagram, or through the website,
mm,
which is www.mariamalayande.com. And in Nigeria, we
yeah.
currently have it in two bookstores, Roving Heights, which is in Lagos and Abuja, and we also have it in booksellers in Ibadan. For Roving Heights, I'm sure they can deliver to you anywhere. And for booksellers, I think you probably would have to pick up. I'm not sure if they can deliver, but most likely they can. But
Mm,
on seller, it's directly coming to my team, so we can deliver to you wherever it is you are.
yeah. Awesome. That's great. I'll place the link to your Instagram in the show note of this episode. So anyone's interested should click on the link, follow you on Instagram, get on the link in your bio, and get the book also. That'll be so wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation. You've taught me a
Yeah.
lot, and thanks so much for writing your book also, because it's a blessing to each generation. And I encourage everyone out there to pick a copy, read the book, and look at it like and see what you can see of yourself, like as a mirror. Look at it as a mirror and see your reflection in it, and look at what you could do to maybe make your life a better one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I think I
Yeah.
have one question for you. Last question for you.
Okay. Okay.
So in the
Yeah.
old book, now we're done. We've spoken about how we held a mirror to you. What's your major takeaway from the book?
Yeah.
What's your major takeaway from the book?
My major takeaway from the book is, okay, I think I shared one earlier, that we I believe we all go through similar things in life. Like no one is
Okay.
alone on his or her journey. We all have things that are similar to us. That's one thing that I took away from the book. And that thing that I took away from the book is what I shared actually about infatuation. And by the time you start to by the time you put a mirror in front of you, you're able to see the toxicity around you. That's
Okay.
one thing I took from the book. So one thing I took several things. I'm just going to continue mentioning them. Now, I mean, once you're able to put that mirror in front of you, you'll be able to see what is wrong or what could change in your life to be able to accommodate peace and happiness into your life. And that taught me the importance of what you said earlier also about reflecting, journaling, taking
All right.
pauses that are actually intentional with looking at how far your life has come, what are the struggles you are going through, and how you can at that point change the course of your life to become a better one. So I think that's my major takeaway from the book.
Mhm. All done.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the lady actually went through a lot of things, and
Yes,
if not
there's
for
a lot
her,
of things.
finding the right path, yeah, even if I finding the right path, she won't be able to end in with peace and love and light. Even if I
Yes.
finding God, she won't be able to have love again in her
Mhm.
life.
I wonder if
Yeah,
we can say did she have a
yeah.
happily ever after, or is to be continued? Mhm.
I think it should be it should be continued. But I think you ended the book at a point where she embraced God and she found love again.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean, she learned to love herself. So
I love it.
so for a curious mind like mine, will be like, okay, now that she loves herself and she has embraced God, how does that continue? Does she go through some other struggles, knowing
Well,
fully well that she has God in her life and she's loving herself?
well,
is
I
she
know
going
she
to
she actually
is
she's
she going to have
trying
it
to get married
rosy
at the
from
end
now
now.
on?
She's trying to start now, so now she's not doing life alone, sha. So wherever it is she's
Yeah, she's
going
not
to
doing life
go
alone.
to, she has God, and then she has a partner too. So it's good for her.
But
I'm jealous.
yeah, that's true. No. Yeah, but like you say, you're writing. Um, maybe you're writing what you also have in the future. Of course, I pray for you to have that in the future to get married and
Yeah,
all of
I
that.
hope
So
so. I
it's
pray
it's
so.
coming. It's coming.
Yeah, amen. And for you
Come by
too.
God's grace. Amen. Amen. I'm not yet married.
Yeah.
Awesome.